So, all right, let's get this bouncing because
All right, let's put some gravy on these biscuits. All right, welcome everybody back to Scattered Cast. Today's episode is jumping back into Magic. We've both been, I haven't been really playing Magic at all, but there's been a lot of new stuff coming out with Magic. You're kind of going to run the show today. So,
look out.
yeah, look out. But we're pretty much, today's episode is a recap of kind of what we talked about in the first two Ikoria episodes. Just kind of, get everybody back into what's going on with Magic. We're also, Ray is going to drop a ton of knowledge on the new product front, like what's been released, because it seems like a whole bunch of stuff just got released. And then we are going to talk a little bit about, is this too much stuff? Are they really, is it just a backup from COVID and now it's all coming out and they're trying to hit a schedule, or our fans are going to get overwhelmed? What's going on? So, but I'm going to stop talking because this is your episode and you're the Magic guy. So let's kick it off.
Well, for starters, the Wizards of the Coast.
Quick. We're both sitting the same way. Just
I know.
Different.
I just can't get comfortable tonight.
No, I like it. We're just leaning into each other. Hey, what's up?
But
it's a real conversation we're having.
So just a little bit of housekeeping, because I don't know for sure what exactly, like, I can't remember everything that has been talked about in the past on the podcast about.
That was a good couple months ago
about Magic, and
barely briefly touched on it.
Right.
Those were long episodes, so just pretend like no one's heard it. So.
And we're obviously not a Magic centric podcast. The whole point of our podcast is because we're two brothers with undiagnosed rampant ADHD, and this is our medium to work ourselves through that, because we like a lot of stuff, and at the same time, though, a lot of that stuff has crossover, so
there's a Venn diagram.
It's not uncommon that like comic book people also play, Dungeons and Dragons, and vice versa. It's like, it's not uncommon that Dungeons and Dragons people would play Magic. And so depending on, filters, stuff like that, somebody that watches or somebody that plays Magic might find their way to this video. But then again, somebody that doesn't might find it.
It's cool just to have something that, like, we have, like, I know where I go for skateboard information. I know where I go for wrestling information. It's cool to have something that's just like, I don't even know what I'm going to hear today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
They might talk about something that,
right.
It's like having that influence of, we're all into kind of nerdy stuff, and maybe you might discover something you never knew. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So, the easiest thing for me to do is to start from the beginning, and I'll make this really quick because, like I said, this is not a Magic history show or whatever. But Magic the Gathering, for those that don't know, is a card game for that came out like in the early 90s, and you buy booster packs, you build decks, and you battle each other. You're actually to get really nerdy about it, you're supposed to be two planeswalkers, and the cards that you're playing are like your spell book. The game has...
Explain that to me real quick. When you explained that to me, when you taught me in 2010, like, that really, I understood more about the game from that perspective.
It's actually kind of funny because I didn't think about it back when I learned how to play, but now when I try to teach it, I understand why. I mean, obviously it's the lore of the game. So it has a function there, but I do think that it's actually a teaching function, because as soon as you explain that like, even though we're two players, this is real life. We're two players sitting down with cardboard. You're imagining yourself that you're a spellcaster going against another spellcaster, and these cards that you're holding in your hand, this is your spell book. This is like, and where that comes into play is when there's cards that say like counter target spell. And in the beginning of Magic, for me, I thought spells were like the instants and sorceries, but not like the animals, the creatures, the dragons. It's like, no, all that's a spell. Everything that you cast in the game is a spell. So that kind of thing. But the reason why I say we got to start from the beginning is because Magic has different, a lot of different formats. I'm not going to get into all of them, but the the three primary formats that we're worried about as far as the discussion of this episode would be standard, which is a block of sets that are only legal, like tournament legal, for a certain point of time, and then every October that rotates. So you lose several sets, and then a new one comes in October, and then every couple of months from October to the following October, there's like a new set that comes in, and that forms that. So that's standard. And then you have limited, and limited is any type of thing where you don't really get to sit down and construct the deck yourself. You either draft a deck, which is you open a pack of cards, you pick a card, and then you pass it to the person next to you, and then you build a deck that way. Or you could do what's called a sealed, where everybody gets 6 packs of cards. Mm-hmm. You open up all them, and then you look at your color combinations and stuff, and then you pick the best cards and put them together. So that's limited. And then the big daddy of Magic in general for the last several years is a format called Commander. Formerly, it was called Elder Dragon Highlander, or EDH for short. Most of the old school guys like me, you'll still to this day hear it be referred to.
Because I never played it, and I still refer to it as EDH. Yeah. And it's weird that like I never once questioned like Commander and EDH, realizing that like EDH isn't an acronym for Commander. Like, right? It's like whatever, it's EDH.
So the reason why it's called Commander is because, and there's a big point to me bringing up this Commander thing, because it kind of ties all this stuff together. The reason why it's called Commander is the way they came at where Elden Dragon Highlander came from was there was a group of people. There were some high level judges that got together and they designed their own format, which they took these cards. They're really old. They're back from early parts of Magic lore, that were elder dragons. They were legendary creatures. They had their own name, like Nicol Bolas, and they had a color, like you had to cast it by a certain color, so it might be like red, green, and blue. And so they came up with this format that we're like, we're gonna, each person's gonna take one of those dragons. They're gonna build 100 card singleton decks. You can only have one copy of the card in it. That's gonna be your general, that dragon, and your cards in that deck can only be of that color, that general's color combination. Mm-hmm. So if you have the one that's like green, blue, and red, which is Grixis colors, you only can have green, blue, and red cards in your deck. You cannot have anything else. And that's where the Elder Dragon Highlander thing came from. And it became very popular, and then it morphed into you could use any legendary creature. So anything that's a legendary creature. Actually, I got one right here. This card is Obosh, the Prey Piercer or whatever. That's from the set that you just got.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got a legendary.
Yeah, Coria. Yep.
Legendary.
He's a legendary creature. That card right there, he is a black and a red. So you could build a card with this, a deck with that card, and you can only have black and red cards in it. Well, the format was extremely tight-knit. Tons of people loved it. In fact, I used to listen to podcasts about it before I even started playing it myself. It's got its own rules committee, its own like banned and restricted list, or not restricted. They can't have a restricted list, because restricted means you can only have one of a card in your deck, and so obviously singleton. Yeah. And in 2010, 2011, I think it was, Wizards of the Coast decided, like, hey, we're going to formally support this product. It's still going to have its own ban, or it's still going to have its own rules committee. Mm-hmm. So it has its own separate rules committee. They're the ones that still come up with the ban and restrict or ban out announcements. They come up with like rules changes and stuff like that. The only thing that Wizards did was they put their name on it. But by doing that, they had to call it something else. They called it Commander. So instead of it being EDH and this is your general, it's called Commander, and your legendary creature is your commander. So where I'm going with all this is that, and this ties into the too much product or whatever, is that last year they kind of gave us the 2020 landscape of what was coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
And they announced that 2020 was going to be the year of Commander. And so we got like more.
How much of stuff was like 2020 is gonna be the year, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Commander, we're gonna take over. Yeah.
So
everybody, 2020, man.
Right.
And so 2020 showed up, and it was.
So they got like, they're talking about they're doing this thing that's like, like something like Commander's Essentials, green or whatever, and it's going to be like a special set of like all green cards. The Ikoria set was the official launch of the Commander precons this year, which that's a change of pace going back, because Commander usually always in November.
That's in the Ikoria episode, I was confused on they do the whole thing on the products, because I was like, I'm used to boosters, big box, and theme decks. What are these?
Right, and the theme decks for Ikoria was Commanders.
If it was EDH, I'd be like, oh, I know what that is. Not making that connection. That's what this is for. So.
Right. Yeah, so they dubbed this year as the year of Commander, and it shows, because it shows with the product that's come out this year. Ikoria just has like a lot of things that are like, it's meant to progress the story forward, to introduce new cards into the standard card pool, to make certain deck archetypes work, maybe weaken other deck archetypes, but you can still tell that like some of the companion the mechanics, that companion mechanic is very EDH-ish to me. Like, you can start your game with this card outside of the game in the command zone, because they have to call it something in the command zone, but you have to like have like all these stipulations. And so it kind of felt to a lot of players like, oh, they're trying to like kind of like introduce Commander into like standard and limited a little bit.
It was like cool that they like introduced, like they embraced this, but then it was just like, but the whole reason why this was cool was that it was different. So maybe don't do the tap.
And I cannot remember, and somebody will be screaming at the freaking, like somebody that's here because they want Magic content. But like, oh shit, new Magic content. They're going to be like, God dang. It's because, but they changed.
This one guy doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah. They already had to like retroactively like change the way Companion works.
Yeah.
Because it completely broke Vintage and Legacy, which is two other formats. Those are called Eternal formats. It's like where the card pool that has always been in existence is available, but they banned things because obviously, like, they couldn't see in 1996 that a card that they made is going to be completely and totally broken with something they come out with in 2019.
It's like coding like old software, like nowadays, where it's just like a web of just who put this in here? Why is this tagged this way? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like this insanity. And it's crazy that they even, it's got to be the most insane True Detective map board of cards and wires and string going everywhere.
Right. So where I was going with all that long dragged out story was it's supposed to be the year of the Commander. Ikoria was the set that not only just had like a lot of Commander juiciness in it to begin with, but it also has the precons that came out with it. So those are like the actual, like, all right, you've heard me talk about Commander enough. You want to give it a try. I'm going to go down to my local store and I can literally buy a Commander deck right out of the box. And it's kind of, they all have like a cohesive theme. And that's what I like about them, is because even if you're kind of new to Magic, you can sit there and you can look at like the special abilities of your Commander, and you can sit there and you can kind of go through your deck, your pre-constructed deck, and you can sit there and go, oh yeah, I see what they're trying to do there. Like, this deck cares about, +1/+1 counters. So then as you start seeing new cards come out, or you start going back to the old shit, you start finding stuff that like, oh, this card cares about +1/+1 counters.
Is this getting too far down the road of what you want to talk about? But is there ever a point where I get banned cards and stuff like that. But that's for the whole like let's say this is the entirety of Magic. Is this so does everything have to exist within here? Are they ever going to make something that's like, yeah, these cards will never be in here because this is only for this series? Kind of like, I don't know. That's a dumb way to explain it.
That's actually a good question. So,
yeah, is
I don't really know about standard, I don't really know about like. Oh, I do know. Well, this is kind of a cheat answer, but every few years they come out with what's called an set, UN. So they've had unglued, unhitched, and
is that where the unrestricted?
What was it? This came out.
There's like two animals like fighting. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's like unrestricted or something. It looks like they're kind of
unhinged, unglued,
and
so those are silver
bordered. It's trying to be like Pokemon.
Yeah, they're silver bordered cards, but they have like really freaking weird rules. Like one of them is like, and I played with Craig and he got the card, and one of them is like, when this card's in play, you have to play with your head like on the table, and then if you lift your head up off the table, you gotta like destroy that card. So it's like a really powerful. It's like kind of a powerful card, but unsanctioned.
Because it's like I'm gonna ruin it anyway with my greasy head.
Yeah, so that's like that's a example of like a way that Magic has like come up with things that like only exist within like that one set, and it can't really cohesively be.
Because I saw that we were in Target, we had to make a Target run, and so I'm all like masked up, trying not to look at anything like that I don't need. Go to the car aisle, because you can check out, you get the Gaslands right behind. So there's so checking out some cars. That's also the Magic card aisle, and I saw that and I thought that was cool because it was like, cool, this is a cool way to get like Magic has that look of like, this isn't for me, you know what I mean, to people, I'm guessing. So a kid that might like that type of vibe might not want to get into that game, but if there's like a Pokemon-esque version, because it's got like two creatures like squaring off, it looks kind of like cartoony, versus their more painterly, serious looking artwork.
Yeah, and that's how they do it. Cool. It's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like really fun. Like they'll have like cards that like are really neat. Like one of them will be like it, like the flavor text in the card, or like whoever, like the artist that drew the card will be important. I know one of the first two ones, they had like half mana symbols, so it was like pay like 1.5 mana, and you can do this. But I think the reason why that was important is because back before the first major rule change, there was a thing that was actually called mana burn. And so mana doesn't usually float between steps and like, so how like you have like your main phase and then your combat phase and your second main phase. Mana does not float between those. So in your main phase, if you tap your cards and you create, say, 8 mana because one of your cards taps for like 2, but like you had to tap that card that taps for 2 extra mana, but to cast your thing or whatever, but you only need 7. So when you go over from main phase to combat phase, your 1 extra mana that you had, nowadays it just ceases to exist. Back in the day, they used to have a thing called mana burn. When you stepped from one phase to the other, the mana that you had left over was dealt to you damage. Like you took damage based on the amount of that mana that was left over.
Okay.
So if you had like, for whatever reason, like 5 mana left over, you take 5 damage. So I think that back in those earlier onset, I think that's where the 1.5 came from, because you could actually like some of it's like this is a great. So this is one of my favorite cards, and it's actually in my cube. We talked about my cube in a previous episode about how cube is like your own your own limited environment that you get to build. But there's a card that's called Gotcha, and there's a lot of us that sit there. We like to do this a lot, like flip our cards. And if you do that, I can't remember exactly what the card does, but if somebody says "gotcha," like you have to do something, and it's it's like the snappy thing. Other cards in the set will be like, when you play the card, you have to do the hokey pokey. It's meant to be fun and relaxed.
It reminds me of
I tried to play it with Craig, and it was like he wasn't fucking having it. It wasn't serious enough.
Yeah,
thought it was dumb. So
we played this game that was like the game within the game. It was like when you're playing like maybe a cooperative game, it's good for this. And then you have like these cards that like the first person that says, yo or dude, you get another card. And remember, like
that was called that was
cards or something like that.
It was because I bought the Kickstarter. It was called I always keep saying code name. We'll have I'll figure it out.
Code name is different.
Yeah, we'll figure it out and we'll flash it up or put it in the notes or whatever. Like, why is this guy so dumb?
It's all right.
Yeah.
But cool. I don't want to throw you off, but so that's pretty much like the kicking off point of where we're at. Do you have any more of like back behind the scenes? Not behind the scenes.
No, the reason why I laid it out that far is to start with why I think there's a lot of product coming out.
Okay.
Because we're going to get into that.
Okay.
And it was because we're talking about what's out now. Yeah. And so I'm talking about that transition from this is like a lot of Commander hype and a set that came out that's like really kind of intense. It's got some new rules that are really confusing and mechanics.
Is that the 2021 set?
No, the Ikoria.
Oh, Ikoria.
And because tonight we're going to talk about the new stuff.
Okay.
We're going like we're sliding it back. Sliding it back. We're going to do, we're going back, to the basic Magic type
couple
stuff.
onlys.
Which even now it's like even core sets are pretty basic. So yeah. So
I never got to play Ikoria at all. I actually have like in the Calyx a little cubby that's like role playing and Magic stuff. So we recorded one of the nights, and I forget what one it was, but it was right around my birthday. And then in the video I say, oh yeah, I still have that original set. So then we recorded, and then I went downstairs and I got the rest of my Magic stuff, and I don't have the original set you bought me. And I was so just like destroyed. I'm like, dude, you're such an idiot. You gave it back. Like, and it wasn't even like the same anymore. You know what I mean? So I was just like, so I just felt like, dude, that sucks. So I think we had recorded another episode of something, and I was like a little bit drunk, and it was right before my birthday, like a few days before my birthday, back in May. Jump on eBay, found the set for like less than $20. So pretty much like what I would have paid for it. Bought it. It took over a month to get
for it to get there.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, yeah, because May would have been kind of like the high end of like everything was slowed down.
Yeah, and it was
like that's when they were telling you like, hey, if you order like Tylenol and like health shit from Amazon, like it's gonna get there in time. But if you're ordering like fucking DVDs and bullshit, wait a while.
That's why you gotta like mix it in. You gotta like have a bunch of like PPE and then the new Star Wars or something. Whatever was out,
right?
But
hand sanitizer and
I just ordered this off eBay, and literally it was like coming up from Georgia, and then it went back south, and it was like this whole adventure on my phone. And then
I had to get a refund one time because I don't know what the post like how it worked, but they literally told me that my package got stuck in an endless loop of arriving at a facility and then being shipped back to the facility and then going back to that facility. And I'm like, so when will it is it just like is it today? Is it still out there?
Is it the bed?
Do I have like a package that's been
like?
I have a package that's been like traveling for 3 years.
And they can't stop it. How many packages do you think are just caught in that loop?
Here's my thing: if you know that the package is in an endless loop, you can stop it. You can call the facility and be like, "Hey, when this package gets there, like." I mean,
tell the computer.
I don't work at Amazon or the post office or whatever. I thought that was funny.
So I ordered it. I wanted it we were recording a bunch, and I wanted it for the show, and then it was just like it was whatever. I've lost the excitement. But I told Dana, I was just like, I'm not going to buy any more Magic stuff because I bought the big Ikoria box because it was like we were pumped about it. I wanted to support my local shop.
Well, it was the perfect timing because they had like the Godzilla sub theme, and then COVID happened. So it's like, well, I want to do something to support like the LGSs. Yeah.
So then I bought the 2011 core set, the Stampede, the theme deck. So I got that back. So I'm happy that I have it. It's like this is the first deck that was my deck. So I'm happy I have that. But it's just like until I play, I'm not buying anything else. So that's why when you showed me Spell Table, I was like, oh, this is a cool way to because I'm like, I could find somebody around. I don't know if I want to just find somebody to, you know what I mean, to play, with or something, you know what I mean?
I just want to try it out because like I said before, I just don't see in the near future, I don't see there being like the comfort level for people to play in person. Like they're trying to do it, but and we're going to get into this later in the episode, but like most of the format, like the shit that I play is multiplayer, like there's like a bunch of us hanging out, eating, drinking beer, eating snacks, playing Magic. It's not like, one-on-one. Yeah. But I wanted to download that Spell Table just to kind of jack around with it because it's pretty cool.
But back to our registration programming. So you broke down where Magic's been, where we're at to today. Do you want to jump into what the product is right now, or do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as a passive fan of Magic, I follow like the Instagram and do stuff. And I see a lot of ads, so I can get the targeted ads. So I've seen a ton of product coming out because I knew we did Ikoria 2021 core set came out, Jumpstart came out, which will probably table, and then some other stuff came out too that I don't even know about. So, but you're pretty pumped. You've been on a shopping spree. I'm taking time off from buying Magic stuff just because of the fact I haven't played. So if I play, I will purchase new stuff. If I don't play, I'm not purchasing anything. But what's up?
So Ikoria, Ikoria came out. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm forgetting about because I've got pretty much all the stuff laying in front of me. I can't think of anything that's come out.
Okay.
that I passed on. Like even like something little, but the main thing, like I said, and the reason why I did that whole dragged out story was because they had all this like kind of stuff that came out that was focusing on the Commander community, or it seemed like it was focusing on the Commander community. And let's face it, Commander is such a big format that every set that comes out, there's gonna be some things in there that like people are gonna look at and they're gonna be like, yeah, that card was totally designed with Commander in mind.
Especially if you know the system. Where I will be like, this is weird. I don't know what this means.
Yeah. But
normal.
Right. But I feel like and I kind of pre-warned you about this, and it was why I wanted to do a recording about it, which is I was like, dude, you're totally pumped about Ikoria. It's big dumb dinosaur type stuff, which is like the thing that like we used to kind of joke about, like you liked your big dinosaurs and stuff like that. And on top of that, it's got this like Godzilla sub theme, but at the same time, there are some card interactions and rules and stuff in this new set that's even got like the dudes that like really know the game going, wait, so what, like, so if you do this and that, how does that work? And they're like, well, fuck, I didn't even think about that. So that was, but now they've rolled it back with Magic 2021 or Core Set 2021. And so that's what.
So does that make, as someone who doesn't know this, does that make Ikoria obsolete?
No. So remember what I said back, you need to insert that like several hours later, that little meme that people put in their YouTube videos sometimes. No, I was talking about like all the stuff that's come out so far this year. So we had Ikoria and so Ikoria, Magic 2021, whatever's legal in Jumpstart, all that. That's all going to be legal now until a year
from now. Okay, I was thinking
from this October.
I wasn't.
So put it this way: this October that's coming up, the set last year that came out at Ikoриa's time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whatever came out last year, when at the same time frame that Ikoria came out this year, that set is leaving. Yeah,
I was more or less asking not because of the time frame and how the rotation works, but because of the mechanics. Because the way when you're like it rolled it back, I was thinking about maybe they
because one of the things the first thing that you look at is you look at things like let me see if I can find something really quick. Or one of the mechanics that they brought back in Ikoria was, you got to be shitting me if I'm not going to have one in here. Right here. Oh, no, that's a pump spell. Shit. Cycling. They brought back cycling, and so cycling is you pay a mana cost and you discard that card.
Yeah, that was big,
and you draw a card. And there are cards now in that set that are like, when you cycle a card, it does like 2 damage to a creature player, whatever. So now, if you built like the cycling deck, right? When the Ikoria came out, like you're like, I'm gonna do like all these interactions of cycling. The first thing that player's doing is he's looking at core set 21 and going, is there anything in this set that makes my cycling deck better? Did they add more cards with cycling?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, if that deck archetype is like the big dog in the current standard format, the competitive format, you're looking for cards in the new set that are like, this is going to go against, like that set. So I'll take it. I'll give you a pretty example. If you go back to right when I started playing Magic legitimately, I'm not talking about back in high school when I dabbled in it a little bit, at like a cross country tournament. I'm talking like decided
Magic at cross.
Yeah, I can't remember the dude's name. It was an invitational, and like it was that dude
Magic going down,
long hair, and he like just sat down. He was a really quiet guy. He just sat down on like a blanket, and like he ripped out this like, and it wasn't an EDH deck either, but like his standard, like now they're only like 60 cards, but his deck was like that thick, like
2 big
no color combination. Yeah.
Now, did a wormhole open up? Because it's like the nerdiest thing you ever heard of. A Magic tournament or Magic at a cross country meet.
Right. Dude, I just remember looking at the cards and be like, dude, this freaking art's dope, man. Yeah. Like, it's like neat. Like, it's like, this is Dungeons and Dragons in like card format kind of to me.
That's crazy. But no never played, like, because I was only 2 years behind. No, never played.
But back in 2010, when I first started playing, there was a Planeswalker called Jace the Mind Sculptor that had come out, and it was one of the first ever. It was.
Buy you a pop vinyl of Jace.
What's that?
Did we buy you a pop vinyl of Jace?
Yeah. Yep. And that card was like very dominant. Well, that year's core set after he came out, they had like Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Bolt's like deal 3 damage. It's like a red 1 instant deal 3 damage. And that was the first thing everybody thought of. It was like, this is the thing that we can finally use to kind of keep Jace in check, because he comes in, he's only got 3 loyalty. Pow, hit him with the Lightning Bolt, and you're on your way. So I don't want to get too much into it, because people are like, what's Jace? What's the Lightning Bolt? But so the point is that no, nothing makes anything obsolete. There may be something that comes out that makes a particular archetype weaker or stronger based on what those cards do. So like new cards coming into the card pool may make a certain deck archetype better, or they may make it if you're putting it into the deck that's trying to beat that. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, I just got done explaining this to somebody else. At the end of the day, and I think they've even done Magic articles about this, like Magic theory and strategy and stuff like that. At the end of the day, there's a couple of different main archetypes of Magic. There's control, there's like combo, mid-range, and like aggro. Like those deck archetypes styles of deck play, those are like your mainstays. So what that means is that Magic essentially is a huge, very complex game of rock, paper, scissors. Some decks are the rock, some decks are the papers. And so it's just like, what deck is better again? And that's why there's been a lot of bannings last week. They banned like 4 cards out of standard. And the reason why is because one of the things that they've always said for years is that when you get to the point in Magic where aggro is not a viable strategy, you're in an unhealthy format. So if you build a cube and you can't make, your cube doesn't have a viable way of playing aggro, you need to change your cube around.
Okay.
If it's a standard format and people can't build aggro decks, you need to change something, because you got to keep those control and mid-range decks in check. And the only way to do that is with a fast aggro deck. Okay. A fast aggro deck has a chance at beating a control deck, because a control deck, what they want to do is they want to sit back and they want to deny your resources and then finally cast their big, bomb spell later in the game when you're all out of fucking gas. Like, you're like,
that's kind of
that was what the shit was with Jace the Mind Sculptor, because I played a deck called Red Deck Wins back then, and I played against these blue-white Jace the Mind Sculptor decks, and there would get to a point where you would run out of all your cards, and all you could do was draw at your upkeep because you ran out of cards. And there was nothing worse than when the Jace player on their turn, they had an ability that was, look at the top card of your players of your opponent's deck and either leave that card on top or put it on the bottom. And there's no worse feeling when you're top decking than when somebody looks at the card and goes, yep, you can keep that up there, because you're like, fuck, it's going to be a land. It's not going to be something that I need. Or when they go, nope, you can't have that. And you're like, that was my answer. They just burned it. That was the worst feeling ever.
And that's kind of how, why me and you always had really good matches. I always liked playing with you, is because you were more of the control. Because you would play a lot of black decks, a lot of blue, or not blue, but you'd play a lot of stuff where you're not hitting me for too much, and then you just come in and clobber me.
Like, what are you doing?
And then so once I tweaked that Stampede deck to be quicker, because it's a very slow deck. So what I did is I built up a lot of things that could defend against you, little living wall. They weren't walls, but they were close enough. I could bring these walls out. I could do this because I knew if I could survive 4 or 5 turns, that's when it's just tap, 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 trample, and you know what I mean? I could send all those. But if I was drawing weird or you just had me off, you were just controlled the whole time, and this was just watching me tick down. And I always had that this next card will save me, this next card will save me, and I just couldn't do it. So it was there's a good mix of our play styles of just you would beat me well more than I would, but I would always have that chance of there's one game where everything's going to lay right for me and I'm going to build up quickly. As long as I could build up quickly on you, I could get in and stampede on you.
Nothing's obsolete. But the cool thing, and I know you said you're not buying, and I totally get it, not buying anymore Magic or not buying any Magic right now, but so the Commander players have kind of had their fun. The Commander players have had their fun. The super complex Ikoria set kind of came out. So now we're back to, and I'm glad they did this because they stopped doing it for a while, but now they're back to doing a core set. And so why do they call this core set? If you go back to the old days, there used to be a core set, and then there was expansions.
Okay.
And the expansions were called expert sets.
Okay.
Because they introduced new mechanics, like the companion mechanic and stuff like that. Well, nowadays, every new set that comes out, that's considered an expansion. But what a core set is a set that has limited mechanics. Most of the mechanics that are in a core set are considered to be what we call evergreen. They're the type of mechanics that you're going to find in every set. You're going to find flyers. So you're going to have flying. You're going to have trample. You're going to have vigilance, which means you don't tap. You can attack without tapping. those are what's called evergreen mechanics. They're easy to learn. Plus, the cards in the core set, they come with what we call reminder text. So the card, instead of just saying, like whatever, I can find an example, but like this card that's like, it's a 1/2 soldier, and it just says vigilance on the card. If that card comes in the core set, it'll say it's a 1/2 soldier and it'll say vigilance, but then there'll be like parentheses, and it'll be like a creature with vigilance does not tap when it attacks. So it's reminding the new players, like, this is what vigilance means. This is what trample means. It means that they block, your leftover damage still goes through. This is what death touch means. Death touch means that any amount of damage to the creature. So if you attack me with a 1,000, and I block you with a 1/1 death touch, your 1,000 is gonna freaking die, because it's, that's how death touch works. So that's what they've come out now. So core set 2020. I purchased this.
Reba popped that in because I was talking over you the first time you showed it.
Yeah, so this is what's called the collector's booster.
That's pretty.
They're really expensive. They're like $25 for a regular Magic booster, 15 cards.
Oh,
but all the cards in there are like foil special. Like, you can get some like really cool fucking shit in there. So I just obviously you get your regular booster packs. So I'm going to show you some Ikoria ones, but you can get your regular booster packs. These are called draft boosters. They're 15 card. The reason why they call them draft boosters is because when you do a draft or a sealed, that's what they give you. Regular old 15 card packs. I did buy a bundle this time, like you did with the Ikoria. But before I realized we were going to do this podcast, I tore into it and opened it also.
It's fine.
So I don't have anything cool to like open up and
we did like a cool reveal last time. But, no, it's fine. It's not every episode needs to be an unboxing. Let's talk about
so before I talk about like it's not the big news of the set, but just to go and show how, and I got this for Nate and I because he's been wanting to learn, just to go to show, kind of keeping with the theme of that, like the core sets are about bringing new players in, is that they came out with this cool thing. It's actually a 2-deck
those are
starter kit. So you take one deck, you give your opponent the other deck, and the cards that are in there are kind of meant to be the type of cards. So I always use the lightning bolt, giant growth. There's an old example we use to teach the stack. And so what the stack means is that every time the active player does something, so in Magic you have like a non-active player. Anytime the active player does something, the non-active player has a chance to respond to that. Okay. So what I mean by that is that, and it's everything. I cast a spell. You have a chance to respond to it. I say, I'm declaring that I'm going to attack you. You have a chance to respond to that, because you might want to play a spell that says tap all creatures. Well, if you tap all creatures, I can't fucking attack you now because my creature's tapped. A tapped creature can't attack. That kind of thing. So we always use the lightning bolt, grizzly bear, giant growth example. And this is cards all the way back to the beginning. So the example is Travis, you're going to be the grizzly bear guy. I'm going to be lightning bolt guy.
Okay.
So you've got your 2/2 grizzly bear. And I say lightning bolt does 3 damage to your 2/2 grizzly bear. So without getting into it, like 3 damage obviously beats 2 damage. So that kills it. Because I'm now the active player that's throwing 3 damage at your grizzly bear, you get the chance to respond, and you go, giant growth, +3/+3.
Yeah.
Now your 2/2 grizzly bear just became a 5/5. The lightning bolt does 3 damage to it, doesn't kill it, because now it's a 5/2 for the rest of the turn. So the reason I'm bringing that up though is because that's the way that these starter decks are set up. Like, they put card interactions in there, so when they come up, they kind of like
teach.
They teach you. Like, they're not going to put like weird ass like companion mechanics in there or like cycling and shit, because it's like, oh my god, like I'm trying to get this person to realize that he doesn't attack my creatures, he attacks me, and now on top of that I got to explain cycling.
long did it take me? Because I
it
would
takes everybody. It takes everybody because your instinct is that you've got a 5/5 dragon and they've got a 2/2 grizzly bear, and you want to attack their grizzly bear and kill it. And you're like, no, you attack me. I'm the one that gets to decide if I'm going to sacrifice my creature or not to your 5/5 dragon.
Because I would remember.
And that was a terrible example. Haters don't hate. I just use an example of a 5/5 dragon, which has probably got flying, being blocked by a grizzly bear, which is impossible because they don't have reach. So,
no, it's all right.
But get the point.
Mom's not going to jump on our podcast and yell at you about it.
Right.
But I would remember once we started playing, and then we would like not play for like months, and then it was like the same conversation, like where I'm like,
right.
Like, you're like, dude, every time I got to tell you. That's probably why I remember it so well. Like when we went and did like the stinky event that we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the rules I remember. And I think I actually told it to someone I was playing. I was like, no, you attack me. Because then I had to look at what they were doing. Because I'm just like, maybe they're doing something that I was. No, I'm like, no. You send me the damage, and I figured out. They're like, oh, okay, it's right. Oh, that's right. It's right. It was like my time to be like, I know what I'm talking about, sort of.
Yeah.
Stinky.
But yeah, so now we're back to the beginning. The core set 2020 has come out. I was gonna say that, like, to a lot of people, the big news is that after the entire history of Magic, having cats and some hounds, like creatures that were actually designated as hounds, core set 2021 finally introduced dogs as a creature type. And if you buy the bundle, you even get a really cool foily version of Pack Leader, which is a creature dog that says other dogs you control get +1/+1. So it's like kind of like the concept, like, this is the leader of the pack, and he's buffing up all your other one. And when you know it, you can't have a new set that introduces dogs without having a legendary dog in the set. So they have a legendary dog, so you can build your dog tribal deck.
Is it a Chihuahua
to go against your girlfriend's cat deck?
Yeah.
But I don't have a shit ton to say about the core set in general, because I haven't really been able to deep dive into it, and I haven't opened up some of my stuff. Like I didn't open up my cool.
Has everything's affected you being able to play too, right? Like you have,
right. Which leads us to the question of the day.
Yes, what's the question?
Oh, and I'm gonna glaze over this real quick because I feel like this may actually be once I get a little bit more information on it and test it out, this may be a standalone episode. But it's really ironic that you talked to me the other day about wanting to possibly explore Keyforge.
I sent you a text. I had sent you a text maybe like a month ago, and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Keyforge?" And then you replied back like a day or two later with something else. I don't think you saw it.
Oh, okay.
So I just kind of like never brought it up. It wasn't in the sense of like, oh, he never responded. Right. It was just like we were talking about Gaslands.
No, dude, if I would have saw it, I would have been like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. So it was me early on in the creation of the Kids on Bike stuff, doing the big, like, I want what's out there. I want to see what's going on and everything. And I discovered Keyforge, and like that kind of style of game is like right up my alley, like that Smash, like Smash Up and stuff like that, where it's just like
so you took the words right out of my mouth,
and just throw them together.
Because that's where Jumpstart comes in.
Yes. Now
because so the way
by the guy who made Magic, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what Jumpstart is that if you I'm not going to show it to you because it's really fine print, but it says, now the difference between this and Keyforge is that Keyforge is literally like an infinite combination of decks. Every single deck, now there might be a lot of crossover or similarity, but every single deck that you buy in Keyforge technically is a unique deck.
Yeah.
And so that's what's cool about it, because there's not like net deck and everything. Smash Up is a little bit different because with Smash Up, each expansion, like those cards are set to those factions. So like if you buy the Smash Up, aliens versus, dinosaurs, whatever, like all the cards on your aliens versus dinosaurs is the same as all the cards. And the whole point is you got these different factions. Yeah. You pick two of them, you shuffle them together, and then you play a match. So you've got like, aliens versus, aliens and dinosaurs versus like scientists and Lovecraft, people, whatever. This Jumpstart thing, I feel like is kind of like borrowing from both camps, because if you look at the back of it, it says each booster contains one of 121 Jumpstart packet variations. So the whole point of this is that these are now at your local game store hanging on a shelf like regular Magic boosters.
Yeah.
You take two of these, open them, shuffle them together, and that's your deck.
Yeah.
And then I do the same thing. So that's why I bought 4.
I want to play
this here. I think this is where it's at, because especially right now in the
sounds awesome
in the conditions that we're in, I'm like something like this or like this Magic Starter Kit if you're like teaching your friends how to play for the first time. So we're getting long on time and getting close to where I gotta jump off. But I wanted to end the Magic discussion just by kind of an impromptu real quick discussion on do we think that Wizards maybe is I feel like this is kind of like the chicken and the egg thing. Is Wizards putting out too much product, or at the same time is it maybe the amount of Magic product combined with the COVID situation that we're in is making it hard to keep up with? And I'll give you 2 prime examples of why I think this. I feel like there's too much product coming, or at least there's an overwhelming amount of product coming out, and not because of price or anything like that. But fuck, dude, Return to Zendikar is right around the corner. I mean, we just had Core Set, we just had Jumpstart. Return to Zendikar is coming on the corner. They've got another set coming out called Double Masters, which is like really good shit. Yeah, it's like all old, like hard to find shit. Like it's like,
okay, I saw something that's bad YouTube. I saw like in the corner. I was trying to write something down. I saw something about something that was like old legendary cards, like stuff that they haven't printed in years, coming out to something.
Nice.
Or maybe, I mean, I'm not in the Magic community at all. And I'm not saying that's not like a humble brag or anything. It's like, but I'm like, I'm not in the know so much on Magic. So is this something that the community is kind of talking about, or is it just something like, as me as an outsider, that's fair to say?
No. So I haven't followed up.
There's a ton of product coming out. I see it. There's a lot of shit coming out. But someone who's playing like you, do you see it?
No, there's a lot of us talking about this, because it's like it's beating us up against the head. But like I said, I feel like it's the cart or the chicken, like which came first, the chicken and egg scenario. Because here's the reason why I am because I am an EDH player and I'm a cube designer. Those are my 2 things. Because of COVID-19, I can't even, I haven't even gotten a chance to fucking play test a Korea product in my cube before 2021's come out. Double Masters is coming out. Jumpstart came out. Every time that there's new product that's been introduced, there's things that come out. Like here's a perfect example.
Now, has any
this card right here called Heartless Act?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This card was like a slam dunk replacement for a different card I had in my cube. Maybe that's not a good example, because that's one I can look at and be like, there's no testing necessary. Like I can look at this card and be like, I can insert card A, and take out, or I can insert card B and take out card A because it's obvious that card A is better than card B. But for some of these other cards, like some of us are still waiting to test out our cubes or our EDH decks with like the hotness back from January, February, and then Ikoria. And it's like we can't even do that. And now it's like we've got 2021 coming out, Return to Zendikar coming out, Double Masters is coming out, Jumpstart came out. Now Jumpstart isn't introducing anything, I don't think, to
now those
and
are
I can be corrected. I don't think that this is introducing anything to standard.
Yeah.
But anybody that's got EDH decks and cubes, there's going to be cards in here that people are going to want to add to their cubes.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like just a fucking. It seems like it's just like Wizards kind of just like took a big bowl of spaghetti and threw it against the window, and they're just like kind of waiting to see what sticks.
Well,
but they're also appeasing the EDH players.
Yeah. Is the Jumpstart stuff hard for you to find right now? Because I haven't seen. I mean, I haven't been out since.
I just found this at my store a week ago.
Okay.
And I unfortunately didn't get it at my local store. I bought it at Meijer. And simply because, number one, it's hard for me to get to my local store right now because that's kind of like a specific thing. Like, I don't want to like bring Alex into like a Magic shop with like a lot of like you don't bring a 6-year-old into a bunch of fucking like a bunch of shit that looks like toys and then go, you can't touch anything. Like
everything's lava.
Everything is lava in this store. Like, because like some of the most expensive shit on earth is in between these four walls right now.
That was like me with Target. Like we were there for actual stuff that we needed, and I was just like, well, I'm already here. Let's just go peruse the Magic.
Right.
Because I was telling, we were talking to Dana, I was just like, it's weird because I'm like, I discovered Gaslands because of getting back into role-playing games. We're back into role-playing games because of COVID. But I don't want to go into a damn store to buy anything for the game. So it's like this weird sort of thing, so now.
And I did want to add that in too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to preface that I'm actually really excited about all this stuff that's coming up, but it is also overwhelming because we didn't anticipate, like you said, there being a worldwide pandemic that was going to keep everybody in their houses. Not being able to play this product.
Well, and
so
it's like
and it's actually a good year for them to have this problem because it's like at least they got stuff that's paying the bills coming out.
Well, it's like
because this shit's obviously flying off the shelves.
Because people are fucking cooped up. It's like it's
because I went in and there was
learn Magic because he wants to learn Magic, or does he want to learn Magic because he's fucking bored? And
right. Because I went in and bought 4 packs of the Jumpstart because I wanted to have 2 for me, 2 for Craig, and then we could open them and play it. There was like 2 pegs of these, and then I went into Meijer literally the next day, and I was like, I'm gonna buy 2 more because I'm gonna open one. I'm gonna open them on stream.
How much are they?
See what's in there. They're like $6 and change.
Oh, that's
per pack.
That's not bad.
No, but you get more. Excuse me. You get more cards. You get 20 cards per pack instead of. So I think it's a little teeny bit more expensive than it should be, but. Whatever. Well, no, actually not really because the Magic packs at like your big box stores, like your Targets and Walmarts and Meijers and stuff like that, they're hitting like almost $5 a pack now.
Yeah, because they were like, remember it was like $3.99, then it was like $4.10. It was like that weird price for a minute. They would sell like the old stuff for a little bit cheaper. I hope it does well. Frankly, there's a rough segue, by the way. It seems cool. It seems right up my alley. Because that'd be a cool way to get like my buddy Dave, who played a little bit with his in-laws and stuff like that. It might not know all the rules, but like, hey, get something cool, play a game, for a little bit, keep the cards, you can use them again. Yeah, I'm excited. I was really excited for that. So I'm going to my local comic shop soon to pick up a couple things. I'm actually going to close my box because I'm not reading comics really. I only have like 1 or 2 things getting pulled anyway. But it's just with everything going on, it's just I'm backed up regardless, but I want to like make it a point to like pick up some cards and do some stuff. So I might actually break my not playing until or not buying anything until I play and actually pick up some Jumpstart stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna do.
Dude, I want to open it up. I want to open that shit up and do like a little battle on.
Well, let me figure out the situation with spell table, and I mean, because at the end of the day, if it's just us pointing cameras at stuff, we can do it here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But spell table has things. So I think what they do is, because you're just looking at people's cards, it has the other little on-screen kind of stuff going on to kind of help you do the play a little bit. You know, keep track of what's going on. So we'll figure it out. We'll get it. So is that
that's all I got?
Wanted
that's my magic. We got everything in.
All right. I felt like I was kind of derailing you in the beginning, so sorry if I
was. No. But it's just one of those things that like, I tried to like trim things back and stuff like that, and then I realized like as I get going, I'm like, God dang, like I'm like I could talk about this stuff like all night, and so like to try to like condense everything down into like, you know, we're going to talk about the new stuff to come out, talk about there's, you know, so yeah, I think it went
cool.
I think it went good.
I think that Magic's one of those things that we're going to hit on every month or two, you know what I mean?
Right.
As like stuff, and especially, you know, it is a weird time with everything going on, and like I hopefully it isn't a perfect storm of going to mess up shops, because who knows how things are going to shake out in the next year, what's going to survive, what's going to be left. I keep thinking of
well, nobody's coming and taking my cardboard away, so even if Magic ends, we can still.
Well, I don't think Wizards of the Coast is going to.
No, nothing's going to end. I just don't want to see. I don't want to see the. I just don't want to see the mom and pop shops close down. So
and it's just like it's putting them in a hard situation too, because I think they have to buy that product up front, if I'm not wrong.
My local store has been all over the news. Like they've been on the news here several times because they've been able to find a way to like keep things going. Because one of the things that they never anticipated happening was how many people were going to want to buy puzzles.
Oh,
and they fucking made bank on ordering. I mean, I think they said like one day they delivered like 500 puzzles in this area because they got in with a food delivery group, and so it was like, hey, we can like help your food delivery group out. You help us deliver these puzzles, and they got puzzles out to people. So yeah.
I mean, I did the thing for Mike in May. My birthday, picked up Ikaria, so I haven't been there in a minute. So it's time, you know, do my. You know, my quarterly stop in and drop some money on them. You got to take off, but definitely
it's been fun, man.
Yeah, it's been a good time. People, first time here watching us, this is kind of the vibe of the show. Hit the like button or subscribe. We got some really cool content coming out. We just did a video with our sister. She's kind of in the group now. We've been playing on bikes.
It's cool.
So that came out before this, but it's fresh. So you should probably check that out. Like I said, we're probably going to be doing some Magic stuff soon. It's definitely on my short list of things to get going here for the show. I think it'd be cool to do some tournaments and some stuff like that. And so everybody stay safe. It's awesome talking with you, buddy. And see you guys later.
Later.
Peace. It's sometimes fun to be dumb. Yep. It reminds me of that game that you have. It's like a game that you play when you play other games. And at first, like, people weren't vibing on it. And then it, like, after, like, the second or third, like, you know, cool thing happened. People started getting really into it. You know, I forget what that was called that you had.
Sorry. Did you see remember?
That? No.
No, you just stopped.
What?
Go back. Sorry. I had a text I had to deal with. Say that last. I wonder why you stopped all of a sudden. Like I literally like looked down for 2 seconds and then all of a sudden you were like, do you remember that?
We'll have to put that in the outtakes. So I'm like talking to you and I go, do you remember that?
It was literally this is how people get into car wrecks because.
And then I go.
That's how people get into car wrecks because I literally looked down at my phone for like less than like.
It was probably 2 seconds, but 2 seconds is pretty long.